welcome everybody. Really excited to have you guys here. The purpose of this meeting is to just give more information about the trip, how you can sign up, fundraising, what we're going to be doing, all of that kind of stuff. So we're really excited for you to be here. Yeah, if you have any questions, by all means, we'll kind of open it up for questions as we go. And then if it's something I already have a slide for, we're prepared to talk about later, I'll just say like, yep, we'll get to that in a bit. So that's kind of how that'll flow. So honey, do you want to give us a little, just kind of our backstory?
Yeah. Well, to those who don't know me, my name is Janet. We came to Canyon Ridge
2017.
Yeah, 2017, but just early last year we really like step in. And and then we did a mission trip to Thailand, and after that we went back to Philippines, and that's when we found the ASFFPI Orphanage. I don't know, what's the stand for that one?
It was a German guy who set it up, so it's like Albert Schweitzmiller Family Work Philippines. It's like a really long, it's a mouthful to say.
Yeah, and then we had so much fun with the kids there. And then fast forward, we came back here in the US, here in Vegas, and then we met these people that did a long time missionaries in the area, and that was Mrs. Sydney and Sir Russell Bridges, and they gave us advice about it, and then after a long prayer, and finally we were like, okay, let's be obedient, because I think this is God wants us, to do, and that's fun. So he's gonna do all the digging more about this trip.
Yeah, like she said, Pastor Allen has been a great mentor of ours, the Bridges, Blake, who works on staff here. They just really helped shape our mind of how we can help the orphanage, because when we left there, they have sponsorships for a lot of their kids where people can donate monthly for their schoolwork and stuff like that. And so that's kind of our plan, like how can we raise awareness for that, and then their playground's falling apart. So I'll talk more about it later, but this book they recommended I started reading, and just them guiding us through, like, well, what can really help this community? It's like, Jesus, that's changed my life. That's what I think we can really, really bring to them. So that kind of changed what our goal is with this trip. So you're going to hear the word DBS a lot in the following slides. So some of you may or may not be familiar with what that is. It's Discovery Bible Study. So we're just going to go through one really quick, because it'll bring a lot of context to the trip in general and some things you'll hear later on. So we'll just go through this. So if somebody could read the NLT version of Matthew 28, 18 through 20.
I got you.
All right.
I do it all the time at work.
Yes.
Jesus came and told his disciples, I have been given all authority in heaven and on earth. Therefore, go and make disciples of all the nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Teach these new disciples to obey all the commandments I have given you. And be sure of this, I am with you always, even to the end of the age.
Thank you. And then we always, in DBS, read in two different translations, because it brings up just different context. So we're going to kick a little old school with the good old King James, if someone wants to read the King James.
I'll go for it. And Jesus came and spake unto them, saying, All power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. Go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and of the Holy Ghost, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you, and lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Amen.
Thank you. Amen. So with DBS, what follows is, this is kind of the guide or the way we go through it. So would someone be willing to retell this passage in their own words? So again, not trying to just remember it and say verse by verse what we read, but what does that passage say to you? How would you tell that story to a friend, a coworker, a neighbor? Let's go, CJ.
So Jesus goes up to these people and says, I have given you authority over all the bad stuff. So go out there and make disciples. And he says, baptize them in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. And then he just promises to be with us every time.
Awesome. Yeah, exactly. So then we ask these questions. What does this passage say about God, Jesus, his character, or his plan? So this is open for everyone to discuss.
I think it tells us that we have a job to do as as followers of Christ. And it's not just to be passive and just be like, oh, God is so great in my life. He's calling us out to be like, you have this, now you need to go and spread it to others who don't have it, to all of God's people.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I think it shows that God's plan is for everyone, right? Like he tells us directly that, I didn't give this just for you, this is for everyone. And the way you honor me through that is by sharing it with others.
Yeah. Anyone else?
I think it's cool how he says he's going to be with us, so we don't have to be afraid.
Yeah, that his plan is to be with us and his characters. Yeah, just love us. And he's right there beside us through the thick of it. Yeah. All right, the next question we go through is we just want to hear another person retell it. So usually when I do this in my group, like everyone gets a chance to. We'll just have 2 different people retell it in their own words. So someone else would retell again.
So Jesus went and he was speaking to some people, and he wanted to empower them, and he let them know that through him they have power, and that it's important that by having that power that they can't just squander it as well. That understanding that power, they also need to understand that it's like with great power comes great responsibility, and the idea that they are responsible for sharing that. So he said, share that with them, and when you share that, make sure that you do it in a way that is honoring to me. And so you need to baptize them in water in the name of Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And the next question we look at is, what does this passage say about people in general? Right?
I think it says people are actually afraid in general. Right? The
Yes.
idea is that, he has to tell us that we have authority and power, because without having that behind us, you can be scared to share that with other people, right? Like to reach out, right? Like there's a reason that not everybody in the world is a salesperson. 'Cause nobody likes being told no, right? Or nobody likes rejection. And so this says about people is that God knows you. Like, God, I know you people. I know you are afraid, and I know you're scared, and that's why I'm here with you. And if you know that, then you can take trust and power in that. And it's also him, by people saying that, really, we want to be a part of something. Everybody was built to belong, and by us taking that power, it kind of shows that. So I think it shows that Jesus understands us. He understands how he created, and he knows what we need in order to take the steps towards him.
Yeah,
Love that.
that's good.
That's good. I like that it kind of gives people hope that we all have this connection. Nobody is more important than others, and it doesn't matter if you come from a place of power or if you're just a teacher. You have that ability to. You have that ability to tap into this power that God gives to everybody. It's not limited.
Yeah, for me, a lot of what Stephen was getting at is, I think, people, he gave us the responsibility to grow his kingdom. And so this church and this passage really reshaped my thought on that, because I always grew up with my goal is to get to church and be a better person, not bring the church to others. So this passage, I think, really says about people is that, we're the church, and we're supposed to go out and share that and grow that. It's not just a priest's responsibility or, someone high up's responsibility. It's really, on all of us. So next we're going to take the passage and kind of turn it more inwards. So what does this passage say about me specifically? So for example, we go through sin to confess or avoid, a promise to hold on to, an example to follow, and a command to obey. So for me, a sin to confess or avoid from this passage that hits me is, I used to be very isolated and kind of very self-centered, so this passage really just brings out man, that's not who I was created to be. That's not what Jesus called me to be. Man, I need to get out there. I need to do more. So what do you guys see as some of these things out of this spec?
I see a sin of selfishness, the idea that we receive God and it's so wonderful that we just want to keep it for ourselves, right? And I think, so that would be, for me, I think about the sin to confess would be the selfishness. The promise to hold on to is that God's word is true. And I think this is just another way he demonstrates that over and over again in the Bible. And the example is very clear. He says, now I did this for you, right? So now you go and do this exact same for other people. So that's the example and the command, really, right? Do this, but then do it in this way, right? Through a baptism.
Yeah, I like the command to obey. Kind of pulls that conviction where it's you're saying that you're a follower of Jesus, but are you really living your life that way?
Yes.
Yeah, I love the promise. I think this passage has such a clear promise of, and I will be with you to the end of the age. Man, what a promise. Because this is right before he ascended in the heavens. it's kind of his final message, like, I'm out of here, but I'll be with you always. And then a lot of things we do with DBS as well as the command to obey. We go into making a very tangible and costly way to obey this passage. We're going to skip that today because I feel like that's entrapment. You know, like, hey, we're going to talk about a passage aimed at global missions in a global missions meeting. So what's your command to obey? But just know that that's one of my favorite things about DBS is it's discovering God's word, how it applies to you, and then responding to it as well. Like, man, how can I apply this in my life? You know, what's a command I can obey? So for me, mine is we've been meeting to sponsor one of the kids, Chris, who's in college for social work, and things got kind of put on the back burner over Christmas. So my command to obey for this is like, man, I need to reach out to them and figure out what's like the process of sponsoring Chris and like getting the ball rolling on that. So just being aware of when we're using this at the orphanage or in groups around here, like we really want to be people who also obey God's word, not just get around and learn about it. So another thing with that is always who can you share the story with or invite to study the Bible like this. So this is another thing to be conscious of DBS. So with this in mind, this is really where our vision for this trip kind of came about. So our vision is guided by Christ's Grace Commission, the passage we just read. We want to foster meaningful relationships, cultivate sustained spiritual development, and ignite an enduring movement of disciples who make disciples at the orphanage, the Cordova community, and beyond. So like everything we're kind of planning for this trip, I want to be able to point back to this vision of like, yeah, this is really what we're trying to do, and just kind of help use this to keep us in check and make sure this is what we're aiming to do. So to give you guys an idea of what the trip is going to look like and what we plan to do, I figured the best thing to do is just go through the 5 W's, the who, what, the when, where, and the why. So the who is we're looking to get a team of about 12 plus volunteers. With that, we'll have small group leaders for the boys, the girls. There's going to be a lot of staff attending the lessons we want to do. And then also with you guys, just exploring your gifts and talents. Like you already talking about fundraising. You're saying you're a teacher. Like I don't know if there's anyone worship gifted in here with an instrument or their voice, but just really encouraging anyone on the trip to use their gifts and talents to the best of their abilities. The orphanage itself, the number I got from the director there is when we're there, there'll probably be about 21 boys under the age of 12 who will be, at the orphanage wanting to engage with us. 18 boys 13 and older, 22 girls under 12, 10 girls 13 and older, and then 24 staff members. Lola Mart, which Lola in Tagalog is kind of like grandma. So Grandma Mart is the director, but when we talked to Ate Eden, so Ate is kind of like sister, they're like older female. They were like the main 2 staff members we interacted with while we were there last year. And do you guys have any questions on the who part of this? No. So what do we want to do? Again, pointing back to the vision of fostering those meaningful relationships, cultivating sustained spiritual development, and then starting a movement of disciple makers. What I really plan to do is probably like a hour and a half, 2 hour block of lessons in the morning time, and then an hour and a half, 2 hour block of lessons in the evening time. And this is all just very rough outline plan of what we have so far. We'll, have more meetings to get into the nitty gritty of all that. But that's kind of the general plan. So that's where small group leaders will come into it, where my plan is to have, 2 by 2, 2 adults in a room with whether it's the younger boys or the older boys, and figuring out how we kind of split things up. But a lot of small group time to share, doing Bible studies, sharing some of the discipleship tools. So when you see DMM, that's disciple making movement. So a lot of the tools at Canyon Ridge, the 3-circle gospel, the healthy church circle, the 4 fields, a lot of those tools fall under that category of what is DMM. So if you see that acronym, that's what that is. So with the kids, the little ones, we want to do a lot of DBS with them, more of like getting them to participate and looking into the Bible and answering these questions, because that's the great thing with DBS is you're discovering God's word with people. It's not just like, okay, how do I crack it open and read for myself and try and understand, but I think just doing that as a group, you're really discovering together. So getting the kids to participate in that. And then just a lot of music and dance and arts and crafts and stuff like that. So just really building those relationships, having a lot of fun, but also like planting seeds of the gospel and some of the tools and how they work. with the teens, I feel we can get a little more intentional with DBS on teaching them how to facilitate their own groups. So yeah, here's how you and your buddies can do it at the orphanage whenever, at nighttime whenever you want to, or set up a group meeting with your local community and your friends and stuff like that, and really trying to teach them that. And then the DMM tool coaching, so coaching them through a lot of these tools and how to use them themselves, and also pass them on to others. And then again, just having some fun, sports and games, hanging out, things like that. And then with the staff, I think we can even be a little more intentional with DBS on, really pouring into them to ensure they understand how the process works and how to pass it on to others. And then same with the coaching. And then some collaboration projects I would love to plan before we go. When we were there this summer, we did like a pool party with all the younger kids and had the big roast pig feast and everything. And so some kind of like fun event on the weekend, because that's kind of, Monday through Friday, I plan to be more focused days at the orphanage doing the lessons, and then Saturday, Sunday being open to, let's do a pool party, let's go to the beach, I think it'd be cool if we could set up some kind of community event, like open the orphanage and they can invite the community in to, if we could sell something to fundraise some stuff for them, or baptisms, like I would love to go to the, beach if we're talking about baptism during the week and they're open to letting the kids do that. Or just, doing a lot of baptisms, I think that'd be amazing. Any questions on what we want to do while we're there?
Would we, if we're leading the groups, would we be required to make up our own lessons or have those different things prepared, or do you want us to focus on a certain thing where it's everyone is kind of doing the same thing?
No, like I said, it'll be different between the kids, the teens, and the staff. So we'll have different, I'd say, overall leaders for those sections we'll determine. I'll probably handle the teens, Janeth is going to handle the kids.
So I think for me, we will, I have already an idea for what we're gonna do, especially for the little kids. The topic that in my mind is the Good Shepherd that we did in Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if we have people that are sure to go, we're gonna have another meeting to do that, and we're gonna talk because we just want, maybe you get some idea too.
Right. Okay.
We're open about it.
There's some future slides that'll bring more clarity to that too. Anyone else for the what? Like I said, there'll be another opportunity to dive a little deeper into that. It helps if I touch with that. So the when. So my work schedule can be weird. Right now it's open, so I think anytime in June, July works. I know high school camp is that weekend in July, or that week of July. But I know it's going to be tricky. I don't know if we can accommodate everyone, but if you have some no-go dates, aside from the tentative dates, I want to say right now the dates are around this week, correct? 8 through 15, I think is what the website was saying.
Mm-hmm. 9 through 18.
9 through 18? Okay. So that week is what we have tentatively scheduled. If that just doesn't work for half the people, give me your dates that don't work, and I would love to, they're very flexible. They just said, come when the kids aren't in school. So that's most of June, July, they're not in school. So get with us afterwards. I know you have your son's birthday.
Yeah, for me it's just June 23rd, if I can be back by then. That's the only restriction I have.
So we'll just try and be as flexible as we can. Like I said, we plan to do Monday through Friday at the orphanage, and then Saturday, Sunday, more on the town or doing things with them. Not all right, we're done, see you later. We'll still be in the area, and hopefully, like I said, doing some of those events we have ideas for. But with that, with jet lag and everything, I plan to arrive probably at least 2 days prior, so that would be probably arrive Friday or Saturday to just get set up and have everything ready to get started on Monday. And then I would also like to leave on a Tuesday, and that leaves the Monday open of doing some kind of group event, going island hopping or checking out Cebu. It's a beautiful place, a lot of cool stuff to do. So I would leave Monday open to do a group event if anyone's interested in that.
So in essence, there's 2 days before, then the week there, the weekend with the kids, and then the day after.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do we don't all fly together out there, or we
that will be the plan. Yeah, we'll be leaving. Yeah, we might stay after to see more of her family and, continue a little vacation the week after. But I definitely want to, for anyone who hasn't traveled before, by all means, yes, you'll be able to travel with us as a group to get out there.
Okay.
And then getting back, it may be different.
Okay.
But for the most part, yeah. So where we're going is Cebu, which is kind of right here down the southern area of the Philippines. And then more specifically, I forget. This is like Mactan Island. This is Cordova. And then the airport's right here. So that's a really nice thing about it, is we're very close to the airport. No like 8-hour bus ride through the jungle to get where we're going.
It's like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Where are we going?
Yeah.
Yeah, very urban area.
Nice.
I was just
Yeah,
there.
it's not-
I was there in
it's-
August.
Okay, nice.
Yeah,
It's a nice. We're
Um,
not
yeah,
going
what
to be
else
in
do I have here?
the jungle, don't worry.
So depending on the amount of volunteers we get and the composition,
Yeah.
we'll look more next month and the month after of where we'll be staying. There's a lot of Airbnbs around, like this area that you can fit 12 to 15 people in with, like nice Airbnbs with a pool and like good accommodations and stuff like that. So that's probably the route we'll go. There's also a lot of hotels around, so if we have a lot of pairs where it's like, yeah, we can pair people up in rooms to help reduce cost, we could go the hotel option. So we'll just kind of see what that looks like in the future as we get a more solid idea of who will all be coming. Again, very urban, so groceries, pharmacies, a lot of that stuff is readily available, not a lot to worry about there. And then of course you'll need a passport to get there. It's visa upon entry, so you don't need to pre-apply for a visa or anything like that, but you will need a passport that's valid for 6 months before you arrive. And then we'll have later meetings about vaccines and just, good travel tips and stuff like that. Any questions on the where? Oops, I clicked it, sorry. And now the why. So this is a tough one for me. Yeah, like our vision statement is, guided by Christ's Great Commission. So for me, it kind of comes down to like, well, Dad said so, Pastor Allen and the Bridges recommended this book called When Helping Hurts, which is really about, how do you help the needy and the poor in a way that really does help them and not harm them, because what a lot of missions fields used to do is just, we're just going to show up and fix things or give them all their money, and that really doesn't set a good example of helping them be self-sufficient. And so reading that book, I have a lot of ways to go through it. I've only got through the first few chapters, but one question it asked in there after talking about a lot of stuff is like, well, why is your heart into this? Why would you want to do it? And it's kind of convicting for me, because a lot of times I get wrapped up in like, well, I'm trying to like make up for past sins. Like, I was, far from God for a long time, and I feel like I need to like do good things to make up for it. And we all know that's not how it works. So part of me is like, well, that's not that can't be my why, so then what is my why? And really just thinking through that, like, Dad said so, you should probably just trust and obey him. So I invite you guys to really explore your why through this process of, what we want to do. And not that there's anything wrong with going somewhere and, doing nice things and helping people, but that's what I really want this trip to be about, is finding that best of both balance of like, well, you can't just show up and do a bunch of good things and hope they see the gospel through that, but then you can't just show up and like, all right, 10 hours a day, we're going to be gospel, and never like connect or build those relationships, so that's kind of my, more of the how, because I think we really just need to find that balance.
Did they already have a little church at that orphanage?
We talked to Ate Eden about it when we were there, and she said...
So we talk about it because, we don't want them to surprise, like, oh, we're gonna do this, and they said like there's a tons of churches that goes there and like kind of like do a Bible study with them, but when the kids try to question them, and they don't really like give them like answer, so the kids are confused, so they stop it. They stop people from churches like going there. So when we do that, and they're like, they seem like they trust us and they like us, so they're like, we will let you guys do that, but please, when you do, Bible study, at least like you have something to back up to answer, and not just like. Yeah,
from what I gathered, it sounds like a lot of people went there to teach religion. A lot of religious groups went there and were teaching religion. So they didn't say any specifics, but that's kind of what my mindset was. So imagine if like 1 month the Mormons come in and are teaching stuff, and then the next week, a month later, Baptists come in, and a month later the Catholics come in. And so I'm like, what we want to do is like, we really just, our church is just all about the Bible. We don't really, I wouldn't say we practice religion. It's more spirituality and following the Bible. And they're like, oh, okay, that sounds pretty good.
And the person that owns this is a Christian?
Yes, they are Christian.
Are you talking about Lola Mart, or who are you talking about?
I'm sorry.
Are you talking about Lola Mart?
I'm talking
or
This
Just the
German
the
guy?
Yeah.
staff and also the owner.
So Lola Martin, we did, so they're Catholic, they're like more Catholic, but yeah, they're like, oh no, we're open about it. Like nobody really comes here anymore to do that, so we would love you guys to.
Yeah, Albert Schwartzmiller, the guy who founded
It's just
it.
the name,
I don't think he founded
Yeah,
it
they
under like a
don't-
religious
yeah.
or
Probably through
any
his
kind of
estate.
spiritual context.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Eden said, yeah, she goes to church and some of the kids go with her. So she
Yeah.
kind of said like, yeah, we're open about it, but we don't really make them come or make them, it's up for them to decide
Force them.
kind of thing. Is how she explained it. Really great questions. Thank you.
That's a really good question.
Anyone else questions on like kind of the why or anything like that? All right. So I think the next two big questions is the how. So like, yeah, how are we going to do this? What's it going to take to make all those things happen? And then, of course, how much is it going to cost? So I think how we're going to accomplish this is a discipleship training group. Me and CJ went through one with Blake, and it was really good. And what that is a process of getting together in fellowship and community and going through a lot of these tools and like learning how to use them and how to pass them on to others. So one thing you'll hear is the MAWL process, MAWL, which stands for Model, Assist, Watch, Launch. That's kind of how we teach these tools, is like, here, let me model it for you. And then, okay, you've seen me model it. Now, you teach it back to me or teach it to somebody else, and I'll be there to assist you through it. Be right there to help you, ask you questions. If you're going way off track, I'll, help you get back on track. A watch is more of like, hey, you've done this a few times. I've assisted you. I think you got it. Like, let me just stand back and see you do it, and then give you feedback at the end. So you're really not jumping in to rescue them or do it with them, more of just kind of stand back and watch. And then eventually launch is, not only do I know that you've learned this, but I know you can go pass it on to other people. So any of kind of the main small group leaders that we'll have, I would love to come through this group. We'll probably record them or have a way to like help you out if you can't, the dates that we do it don't work for you. So I just think that'll be super important that, like I said, we want to pass a lot of these tools onto them. So it'll be important that, you're familiar with them and know how to teach them or coach people through them. We'll have a lot of future meetings, planning the curriculum, like Heather was asking about. Like, are we in charge of figuring out what we're going to be doing with our group? I'd say no, it'll be kind of a bigger plan that all the small group leaders for either the kids, the teams, or the staff will kind of be following. And then, so we'll have a lot of meetings with you guys to help kind of discern and figure out what those should look like. And then our diverse gifts and talents. This is new to us. We've never led a missions trip. We've been on one, kind of did our own thing, and now we're doing this. So we're gonna need, I just love that Pastor Allen like jumped in and let us like kind of put the church name behind this, and her help and support behind this is super huge. I really appreciate that. And then like we have teachers, so by all means like help us plan curriculums and kind of learn those things. Like I said, if anyone's musically gifted,
Excuse me?
I heard you say you're good.
Hey, there's YouTube, we can do.
Karaoke is huge in the Philippines,
I
so I'm
can
sure
sing.
they'll love
Okay.
karaoke. But just really encouraging and empowering you guys to use whatever gifts and talents you have for this trip. I think is really going to be huge on how we can accomplish our overall vision. And then, of course, just lots of prayer and discernment of, for ourselves, for the orphanage, for the planning, and all of that stuff. So Psalm 37, 23, 24 just really encouraged me as I was kind of thinking through a lot of this, is the Lord directs the steps of the godly. He delights in every detail of their lives. Though they stumble, they will never fall, for the Lord holds them by the hand. So this is new to us. I understand we're probably going to mess things up. We're going to stumble. It's not probably going to go out perfectly without a hitch, and we're going to learn a lot of lessons. But just knowing that God is with us through this, and He's going to guide us through it. And anyone have any questions on kind of like the how to accomplish this, or what next steps there might be? And then next is, how much will it cost? So the $2,700 cost breakdown for what you see on the website is airfare. I just searched a month ago when I was putting stuff together how much it costs to get from here to Cebu. Was about $1,900 round trip. Meals, I factored in if we go 2 days early, leave a day after, that's about 10 days, so $30 a day for meals in the Philippines is more than enough. That's quite a bit. Lodging, this will depend on if we go the hotel route or the Airbnb route, but it should be around $200 per person for the whole 10 days. And then outings and other, so that just kind of factors in souvenirs, cab rides, transportation, just kind of those extra expenses. Because I don't want you guys like, okay, I have $2,700 cash in my pocket, and like this is all I'm going to need, and I'm not going to go over. You know, just giving that kind of buffer, giving that buffer for you guys. Yeah. And then travel insurance. Pastor Allen has someone who sets that up, and was $100 like an okay estimate, or is it?
Yeah, that's
pretty close.
Close enough.
Okay. So yeah, the question I have for you is, out of this $2,700, like would they be paying to the website or to us for like meals and
It'll all go
audience?
into the website,
Okay.
and then you will be in charge of keeping up with receipts and things like that.
Okay.
So, hey, this is what we spent on meals and things. And I'll talk you guys through how that looks and things like that. But yeah, that way the team doesn't have to, oh, I need to bring $300
Yeah.
to keep in my pocket for meals and stuff like that. That's not fair to you guys.
Yes.
It's like the leaders will help maintain that piece of it and everything and stuff like that. So
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome. We'll go more into kind of fundraising in the next slide, but does anyone have any questions about any of this?
What are the dates again?
June 9th through the 18th.
9 through 18.
So the fundraising is going, whatever we make there, it goes towards the trip, and then deduct whatever the cost, or how?
Yeah, so with the website, you'll have a place where people can donate money for your trip.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, say you fundraise $1,000, then you'll have $1,700 left you have to cover on your own. So there's the deadlines in there kind of set for when things are due. So yeah, a lot of the fundraising will be for yourself, you know, to pay for yourself. And then if you don't need that, by all means, yeah, we can use that to buy Bibles. You know, we want to bring like children's Bibles and just adult Bibles to bring with us. Thinking of, other things we'd like to do there that we could fundraise for. But a lot of the fundraising will be to cover your cost of getting there and stuff like that. Because it is a large amount of money, you know, it is a good financial burden. But yeah, we're there to help you, so we'll talk about fundraising now. Because these are a lot of the questions we've been getting already from you guys. So fundraising, like I said, there's the website that you'll get when you register. And that was a huge help to us for Thailand, just sharing that link on social media where people can read through what the trip is about and just have an easy place where they know it's secure of like, yeah, here, let me, I think they use PayPal or different methods you can use to pay for that. When we did Thailand, I felt kind of convicted because, like I said, I was living very kind of selfishly and isolated. So we had money sitting around for something like this. So I was like, well, I don't really want to fundraise because we don't need to, you know. And then I talked to Blake about it, and he just had some great insight of like, man, some people have just crazy lives, and they would love to go on trips like this, but they can't, you know. So fundraising is like a great thing that brings them joy of, you know, supporting other people to go and do these things, like brings them a lot of joy. So why would you want to like keep that from somebody? And I was like, yeah, this kid's like 20 years old and he's super smart, you know? So that's one thing I encourage you guys for fundraising is, yeah, it can be weird to ask people for money and stuff like that, but yeah, it brings a lot of people joy to help global missions and just support their friends and stuff like that. The tumblers, so this is a way me and Janice have been fundraising for ourselves, is the tumblers with a lot of the Canyon Ridge tools, or the DMM tools on them that Canyon Ridge uses. So we figured overhead for us is maybe like $5 on these. So if you sell any of these to your friends, we'll put the $15 to you. We'll just transfer that over to your account for your fundraising. So by all means, the website QR code is on here. Come get it from us after this. And yeah, sell as many of these as you can. We'll transfer that over to you guys. Just make sure you let us know, like, hey, if you see an order from this person, like, that's mine,
yeah.
you know. I would love to plan some kind of, like, I love to golf, so I plan to do some kind of like maybe golf fundraiser event, you know, before we go to raise some money. Janet was talking about like bake sale things or.
About the talk.
So I work with entrepreneurs, I consult them regularly, and I have some people that have already agreed to do like an event at their restaurant.
Awesome, yeah.
So what I'm curious about though would be, can we use the church to advertise, so to speak? Like for instance, for them it's beneficial to open up their restaurant to people who have never eaten there, right? And then they'll give a portion of the proceeds of that, and I've already got agreement for it. I'm just curious, can we like advertise that to the congregation or anything, or be like, hey, we're going to do a night out to fundraise, and this percent of the proceeds
You can advertise it
go
out to your friends and things like that, but it has to be, it's a mission trip that we're doing with our church, but you can't tie the church's name to it. We have very strict fundraising guidelines.
No,
but-
I've
We
never
tried that.
Yeah, we navigated a lot of this with the tumblers of like what is and
Yeah,
isn't
we tried.
appropriate. And the interesting thing that I kind of learned and understood is they're trying to navigate that polarity of like, yeah, we have a big platform and we would love to like help people in our church fundraise and do these things, but at the same time, like not just removing all of that responsibility from the individual. Like, yeah, because that was kind of like honestly my initial like, hey, we made it. Yeah, if you can just share these on your website, you can share them on Sunday service. Like, we're just gonna sell a bunch, and not have to really like do any of that work ourselves. So it is a tough balance.
No, that's, and then
Can
the
you
other.
explain how that Tumblr works?
Of course, yeah. So I'm gonna do it at the end.
Okay.
I'll get back to it at the end. We
And
can
you
go through it
also
quick.
said a golf tournament.
Mhm.
What were you going to do?
Not sure.
I belong in 3 golf leagues.
Awesome.
There you
Someone's
go.
got a unique talent to be better or something.
I'm not
But-
really sure.
and
I've participated in like 1 or 2 charity events, but I've never set up my own. So that's
You
just
ever
a
done
very
the
like.
Pastors Masters here?
I've heard of that one,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've done that before too. So if you need help, let me know.
Awesome.
So
Thank you.
the other question I have about fundraising is, so we have the link at the church.
Mhm.
Like, are we allowed to set up, for instance, like let's say I want to tap into my personal network, so I set up
Yeah,
a
the
GoFundMe.
way
Can I set up a
the trip
GoFundMe?
module thing is like once you're signed up, you're part of the team, you'll receive a exclusive link for you.
Mm-hmm.
And you can point people directly to that. Now, if you share that link on Facebook, on your page and everything
Yeah.
else like that, hey, if you want to donate to my trip, here's the link and everything and stuff like that. Go for it, you know, and
Yeah.
things like that.
Well, so my question is though, what if I want to do something above me? Let's say I want to go set up a GoFundMe account and I want to send it out there to then donate. Is that something that's acceptable as well?
No.
So then I don't know. I mean, by that standard, can I even do the event at a restaurant then, right? Because I'm going to be taking funds through not through that link. The owner's going to give a percentage of the
The owner
investment.
will give a percentage and you'll just give them the direction that check or fund will go into that.
Okay,
trust
so
fund.
that so
It still
all
goes
money
through
has
that.
to be raised through the link in essence then, and so don't collect any money any other way, shape,
Oh,
or
you
form.
can, and then it can go to like a team link, or you can, like, say, a check's been made out from said restaurant to Canyon Ridge for blah, blah, blah. Well, you want X amount to go to your trip fund, and you want the rest of it to go to the team fund. It can be divided up that way. That's something that we can do. It's
Okay.
just that type of thing. I mean, we have done fundraisers, we've had people that have done, because, you know, you can't gamble with the church name attached to it, that have
Yeah,
done
of
like a
course.
poker night fundraiser, you know, where they've had, everybody bought in $50 or whatever. Everybody, half the guys brought in checks for $200, you know,
Yeah.
whatever, and stuff like that. Somebody won the pot, walked off with it and everything, but then he said, okay, here's the money
Right there.
collected, can it be applied to the trip?
Well, yeah, because
we
we've done stuff like that through my organization for other nonprofits. So I just wanted to know where my lines are because we have 7 different Airbnbs in town through one of my business partners that we can host an event at that I can easily get any night and say, hey, we did a poker night. We actually did exactly that.
Yeah,
for,
it's
for,
something like that. It's
for
like, I
a
don't
sports
care.
nonprofit.
It doesn't matter where the money comes from or how it comes. I mean, it could be a check written to you, and then you deposit it, and then you decide to put it into the trip fund. I mean, it all depends on what the I guess the end organization is comfortable with. You know, it's like I'd rather write that check to the trip or go online with our corporate card and put a donation into that trip, and then you provide them that link, you know, and stuff like that.
And I want to say that has like the tax-free part, like a donation built into that as well, right?
Yeah, if you want a tax-free donation, then the check would be made out to Canyon Ridge, and the organization would receive a tax write-off
correct, yeah.
and everything like that. So anything they donate to your trip, including what you donate, when you pay your $270 deposit, that is tax deductible. Even it's because you're paying it to you and it's benefiting you, but it's actually
Still goes to the church.
Church
Okay,
lot type
goes-
thing,
the
yeah.
church holds it, so then we get the tax deduction.
those nonprofit lordy lines. But I mean, that's one of the few things, you know. It's like, okay, so it's like, yeah, you get a tax write-off for your own donation to your trip because it's benefiting the church. And we can figure out each one depending on how they want to pay it out or whatever. We can talk to. Sometimes there might be ways that.
Well, I mean, they've been my client for a while. They'll do whatever I ask. Honestly. So it's just like
okay.
it's just like I just need to know what the church's preferred protocol is, and then I want to comply to that.
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you, Steve. That's
Yeah.
super exciting. Yeah. Anyone else have fundraising questions?
And the only thing I can say about fundraising though, is like, some people will shy away from it or whatever. It's amazing how many people will say, okay, I can't do much, I can do a $10 check, or I can do a $5 donation, things like that. Those add up, or I'll give up my coffee for a week, you know, and things like that. And it also allows them to participate, and it's amazing how many of your non-church friends will donate to trips. And it offers you the conversation when they get back of, hey, let me tell you about my trip, you know, and things like that.
That is so true, because you know, when we did ours, we're like thinking like, nobody's gonna donate, like nobody wants to like fundraise or trip to Thailand. And it was so surprising because the time we put it there, it's like we raised like how much was that?
$1,000, yeah.
$1,000, and we didn't even expect like.
Yeah, I was just sharing it on Facebook mainly. Like,
yeah.
And
I raised $3,500 on Facebook.
Yeah.
For Egypt.
I call it
Oh, wow.
free raising.
I want your friends.
It's like what she's saying, it's all about.
Those little $10, $20 donations add up, and you end up with a pool of people that you now can share that story with, you know,
Yeah.
or they'll check up with you. It's like, well, how did that trip
How
go?
did it go?
Yeah, and things like that.
It may not be there for mission trips, but they're there for you.
Yeah.
And they'll support you.
Yeah.
All right, so the next one, the big question we get is, how do we register? So I want to say that goes active today, right? They can get on the website and
online, and
register today.
it'll have application apply, you know, and you just fill out the application and submit it. Knowing when you submit the application that you'll need your passport information, and also be thinking about your 3 references. We ask for references for trips or whatever and things like that.
Yeah, with children involved, is required by the church. There's
And later on,
background
somewhere
checks
in your
and stuff.
process is we will be, if you haven't had a background check for Canyon Ridge, we will be asking for that later type thing, but that's,
Guys, I use online Facebook and letters. The Olivia trip 4 years ago was all letters. My kids and I send mission trips and writing letters to people.
I'll be doing
We sent
TikTok
500
dances.
letters.
Oh,
With the link on there.
yeah, you just write a letter and you put that link
Yep.
on there and they can go in and
Which is
donate.
great.
Or they can write, I'll make sure that we send out, you know, it's like if somebody wants to write a check and everything and mail it in, here's who to make it to and how to go about making it.
Put the stamp on
Interesting.
it.
Yeah, the website's pretty easy about, it's very,
Very easy.
like online, fill out the forms.
When do we pay the deposit? As you mentioned, it's $270
You'll fill out
deposit.
your applications, those will go in and they're due by the
End of February, I think is the date.
end of February.
March 1st.
The tripler, he'll get to look through them and everything else like that and say approved, and then once you get that approval, you pay the deposit then.
Okay.
It's like you don't do the application and the deposit at the
Yeah.
exact same time.
So, and we won't get the link till after we put our deposit down, I'm assuming? Like my personal link to start fundraising?
I think you get that right away.
right away.
Once they accept your application, you automatically that link will be available. And every one of you will have your own individual link, which is really cool. So,
So we could technically fundraise our first deposit, sounds like.
yeah, that's why we try to give a little bit of a gap of time between the application being approved and the deposit due, just to give you a case, because some people do fundraise their deposit even. You know, things like that. It's like, okay, you got a friend that's already ready to give. It's like, okay, hey, go ahead. And you know, it's just, and the system will remind you if you're behind on funding and all that fun stuff and things. But yeah, so there'll be ways of doing that. It's like, but there's the application. We have to wait for the references to come in, because so if you're as you give your references, whoever you list, let them know and say, hey, you're going to be getting an email from. It's not phishing. You know, it's sort of like our background checks. We always have to tell everybody it's like it's not a phishing email. It's your background check.
You know.
Things, but yeah.
I was like, I'm just gonna go hit this. Yeah, every Sunday with a bunch of
We're thinking
With a big
about
circle like
return.
that.
Go get Pastor Chad. You're like, I just message him and be like, hey, do this.
So those friends or 3 reference are, you know, like it can be like church, right? Like the people that you know at church, or
Yeah, people that you know at church.
Mainly the people who know all your deepest, darkest secrets, and you would never want people, to ask about you to them. We want those people.
So my ex-wife is one of them.
Yeah.
I'm sure she'll give me a great reference.
I think the questions that we ask on the references is a little bit like, hey, would you recommend this person for a trip? Hey, what's some things to know about this person, things like that. It's like, okay, they do really, really good in a crowd. You may have to break duct tape for this person, So, shh, depending on which pastor feels it out there. It's like,
That's funny.
Well, I'm really excited about this trip, As soon as I found this out, I was like, oh, I'm going. I don't even know that they're leaving it.
So we already kind of talked about this one, is are we all traveling together? So on the way there, yes, by all means, if you haven't traveled a lot or there's a lot of travel anxiety, we'd love to travel as a group to help with all of that. And then finding the place and getting settled in.
But is there flexibility? Like, let's say I want to take a personal vacation at the end of it. So is there flexibility then for me to just push my return date?
Exactly. Yeah. By all means, you're all adults.
And then obviously
so
I'll take care of my.
And that'll be something you'll discuss as you get ready to buy plane tickets. Like, okay, you want to stay in the Philippines for a few extra days. Okay, that cost is on you. But your return airfare, we got to get you home, so that'll be included. It's still good.
Yeah, and those costs will be figured out, so it's not like, well, you owe us $2,700 no matter what. So like our trip to Thailand is a perfect example of, I forget what we even ended up paying for our Thailand trip.
Because they bought their own tickets.
Yeah, we were already heading to the Philippines
anyway,
on our own. We went from the Philippines to Thailand and back. So.
And we can figure that out and stuff like, before we purchase they purchase plane tickets to our travel agent, we'll talk about all the different, if we got somebody that wants to stay, or hey, your layover's in so-and-so, hey, I'm going to stay an extra 24 hours there. It's like, okay. So the travel agent will know to change that flight to that thing, so.
And then can I just ask, because the last date is the 18th, so us going home, we would be flying back the 18th? Is that?
That's the date.
And what's travel time for there? Are we going like?
That's usually,
like
when we're flying back from Asia, depending on traffic, it's the day that
You
never
gotta
ends.
probably hop at least
It just goes and you cross
Yeah,
the
we
day
go
line.
LA to Manila to Cebu, so 2 stops.
I left the Thailand
So we
one
just
time, I got back
fly
here
to
2
LA?
hours later.
Fly to LA, and then
Yeah, probably fly return on the 18th.
Okay.
I think the plan. Like I said, that leaves Monday to do a group, some kind of
Okay,
group.
so
outing.
Monday, okay, only because I do summer school and our summer school starts on the 18th.
Okay.
So I
Yeah,
just
if you need to
have
leave
to
Sunday
give
night or
them-
something.
But it's good if we
I have to give them the, like, am I gonna miss one day or am I gonna miss 2 days?
Traveling back is nice because you're gaining all that time back. So
Okay.
traveling back is nice. It's one of those weird ones. Well, you'll leave, say, the Philippines at 5 p.m. and you land back in LA at like noon.
Got it,
You
okay.
sat on a plane for 16 hours and went
Yeah.
back 4 hours at a time.
Got
It
it.
messes
Okay.
you up, but it's nice that you're not like.
Yeah.
Because on the way there, it's rough. Like, all right, I'll leave Wednesday morning, and then you get there like Friday night. You're like,
Okay.
whoa. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one, the website.
And then last one is what's the daily schedule while we're there? A lot of people have been asking that, which we kind of covered in the what. I think you guys missed that one. So essentially, our plan while we're at the orphanage is to set up different lessons to do with them. A lot of discovery Bible study, coaching them through these tools that they can, learn and pass along to others. And so we're looking at probably doing, like getting there at 8, doing worship for a half hour, 45 minutes, and then breaking into small groups where you'll have like your small group team, whether you're with the younger girls, older girls, younger staff, older staff, staff is just gonna be one group, sorry. However that breakout is, and then, so like a morning session and an evening session of probably 1.5, 2 hours of doing what we kind of figure out our curriculum will be. And then the rest is, just having a lot of fun, playing games, crafts, music, sports, hanging out. I like to help clean up. It's kind of like dirty, so I think that'd be cool, is just while we're there, just really help clean up the place and do stuff like that. What other questions do you guys have?
What's the weather like?
Hot.
it's gonna be
humid.
monsoon season,
Hot
isn't
and
it?
humid, and it is rainy.
It's going to
Yeah.
be.
It's like, that's what I was already warned.
It's always 85 degrees.
But it's gonna be like 80% humidity the whole time too,
Yes.
right? Yeah. 90? 99, 100.
Rain and all that.
Your tip and humidity match.
No. Thank you so much.
I won't have to worry about frizzy hair, luckily.
Yeah, very humid, which just makes the heat that much worse.
Yeah, for me, my question is really, you know, like I said, Jonathan and Jess, they are my really close friends, and I already told them my plans because I'm gonna hate myself if I go there in Cebu, where I know my family's back in Manila. I can just fly there in an hour and see them. So that's basically, you know, but I think you answered already the question, you know.
Yeah,
I just need
we've
to
done
coordinate.
that on so many mission
Yeah.
trips where it's like, hey, I'm in the vicinity of so and so. It's like, okay, we just need to know that before we buy the plane tickets, how to
Right.
adjust and things accordingly
Yeah.
for people and things like
So-
that. So.
Planes are the most expensive part, so
Yeah.
over.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
you can go get another.
Yeah.
I'll go get a super cheap Airbnb after you guys are gone. I'll go sleep in the jungle.
There's a lot of cool, like little like cottage, beach cottage resorts you can go to, super cheap, like
Very
10, 12 bucks a day or night or whatever. Yeah, just have a nice little
Oh, wow.
bungalow on the beach.
I'm gonna come back.
So we can start registering as soon as we leave here.
Yeah,
Is it in the
now.
Yeah, you
website?
should be able to go on the website. Is that
And
it should
then
be on there.
you said after that register, and then we get like
After you've done your references, and then you just wait to like get approved.
Yeah, and then these guys will approve and go, okay,
You're gonna have
and then
your
you'll
own
get a link that says, hey, your application's been approved,
And
your
then start
deposit,
from there.
and it'll give you a link to go ahead and pay your deposit and all that,
Mm-hmm.
so.
Do we have another meeting, couple meetings before the trip?
We'll have quite a
Yes.
few,
Okay.
yeah. We don't have any on the books yet, so I'll let you
Okay.
know what the next one will be
Okay.
and kind of what that's
Yeah,
for.
because we want to know who's really gonna go, you know.
Okay, yeah.
We can.
And then one last question for me is like the passport. My daughter and myself, we don't have an air one. We're in the process of getting it right now. So, but I heard you mention.
As long as you have it before you don't have to just put, ordered or something
Okay.
like that, or.
I think I had to
on
do
the
that.
registration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think I had to do that 'cause I may have lost mine. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that for you.
All right.
And then, you said your daughter, so that's another thing I want to bring up is the minimum age is probably like 13, so we would love to bring teenagers with us.
Oh, she's 22.
She's 22.
Oh, there you go, yeah.
She retired by both sides,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
By all means, if you know any teenagers who you think would be interested in coming in, I think it is a great opportunity for them to come
Yes.
experience another culture, get overseas, help love and serve the Lord in an interesting way where, not that there's no responsibility on them to like help out with the groups and do stuff, but like just have a lot of fun, like hang out and meet kids their age and stuff like that. If they're very hormonal boys, I don't know, that's going to be a interesting thing to figure out, but yeah.
Yeah, when you go to the website, it has a button that says apply today. That will
Okay.
take you to your application and all
Okay.
that stuff, so.